Well, hello everyone. Happy Thursday night. We are here with a wonderful message for you from Dr. Michael Gross. And this is the kind gentleman right next to me. So,
Hello,
hello.
everyone. I'm Dr. Michael Gross, and that's to you and App. Oh, we got to get the finger pointing right. As you
It's
know,
okay.
when you're on
Sometimes it's
here,
hard to remember.
it's a mirror effect. So thank you, everyone, for being on, and have so much to talk to you all about. But to you, do you want to do an introduction, or should we get going?
No, let's do an introduction, give everybody an opportunity to jump on because it just turned 7 and sometimes it takes a little while to fire up our computers. But here's the thing. We do this every Thursday night at 7 o'clock Pacific Daylight Time, and we love when you guys leave us comments and questions because, hi, Mary, because when you leave questions, then that's more that Michael can answer. So today, um, we have an awesome topic. It's called Are You Feeling Lost? And Michael's going to get into that, but first I'm going to introduce him to everybody. All right. So this is the only part we script, and everything else is channeled through Michael. He's the conduit to. I'm not going into that. He can tell you if he wants to, right, Michael?
Right.
Okay, here we go. This is the only part that we script. Dr. Michael Gross is an author, professional keynote speaker, transformational coach, and an entrepreneur. For more than 3 decades, he's been on a spiritual path as an intuitive, a healer, a spiritual counselor, and an incredible teacher. Through the guidance of spirit, Michael has assisted others in their personal quest for self empowerment, helping them to create the lives that they have long sought and to bring forth their intuitive abilities. Michael currently teaches classes in spirituality, self empowerment, Reiki, and other modalities. In concert with God, the true source, he has also achieved great success and miraculous healings. He remains humble, knowing that the work that he does all comes from God, the true source. Michael lives in Lakewood, Washington, and has just launched his nonprofit. So, why don't you take a minute to tell everybody about your nonprofit and then go ahead and move into the topic, okay?
All right. The International Institute of Self Empowerment, and as we affectionately call it, TISE, TIISE. And you've heard a lot about this. We're coming down the wire where we're going to do a lot of fundraising eventually and get this thing lifted off the ground. But I want to thank to you who helped me so much in learning about abused women, children, and men. And it's going to have 12 arms, and the first arm is going to be helping abused women, children, and men. And because of her helping me to understand what's really going on and writing the beautiful book, Healing the Holes in Your Soul, she graciously agreed to be director of that division. So thank you to you. We'll talk about it a little bit more as time goes by. But I want to thank all of you for joining us. And the subject is Are You Feeling Lost? And I've talked to so many people over the many months, over different parts of the world besides the United States. And so many of the beautiful souls are feeling lost, feeling disconnected, feeling anger, frustration, unhappiness, feeling no direction in their life. And, we've all felt that from time to time. But this is a very key time in our lives that is happening. It's a key time because what is occurring is several things simultaneously. One is taking a look at our lives. We all are examining our lives. And you're doing it directly or indirectly. Directly means, where am I here? Why am I lost? Why aren't things going well? Questioning sleep. Well, that's a big one, sleep. And the other times, like you're just scratching your head and going, what's happening? What's happening? And so I want to talk to you little bit about this and offer some suggestions. So, first of all, when we talk about what's happening, is that there's a major shift going on in the universe. Guess what? You are part of that major shift. And as I said, that we had until March 31st for our souls to decide whether we want to become spiritual or not. Now, I'll tell you, I'm going to say almost every soul desires to become spiritual to some degree. However, our egos get in the way and say there's a bunch of malarkey, yada, yada, yada. and we're blocked, or our ego gets in the way, and I want retribution, I want this, it's unfair, and so on and so forth. So I have a very good friend, and my good friend, says to me, and I've mentioned it before, what the heck did they spike our drinks with to make us to come into this reincarnation? Here. We chose to be here for many reasons. And one of the we chose to be great. Each one remembers time on the age of three, more or less. You have that veil of forgetfulness that descends upon you, and then you forget why you're here. So it's like a blank slate, a meaning or a blank canvas, if you will, and you're designing your life. But I had the honor of talking to a group the other day, and I was talking to them, and I told them about manifestation. So everybody wants to manifest everything. And I said to them, hey, look at your life. You manifested your whole life on an ongoing basis. You manifested it. And they kind of looked at me, some of them, and some of them thought, well, Michael's nuts. Well, that's okay. Didn't have any walnuts for the day, so I knew I was really not nuts anymore. But the truth of the matter is, everyone, is that we are creating our life 24/7. But now we're feeling like, what direction do I go to? Where am I going? And I can't sleep, and I'm angry, and I'm upset, and everybody's wondering about the economy and how they're going to survive, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Well, first of all, let me talk about sleep. Just had one of my clients who've been with me many, 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 many years, and she said she panicked, she couldn't sleep, went to the doctor, she was feeling perspiring, her heart took her, pulse, her pulse was up, went to the emergency ward, they did all kinds of tests, couldn't find a thing. Nothing wrong after 3 hours. Everything was fine. So she went home, and then she called me the next day, and she was telling me that. I said, well, did you have a little pain in your heart? Yep. Did your arms feel like they were in pain and tingling or some kind of discomfort? Yep. That what you were having was a panic attack. Well, I didn't do anything. She said, I was fine the last 3 or 4 days, and you saw me 5 days ago, and I was fine. I said, yes. But what I want you to understand is this is what's going on. And I use the analogy like a sponge. And so you take a sponge and you absorb water, and it picks up water. And then it absorbs more water. Then all of a sudden, the sponge becomes saturated and the water begins to leak out. Well, that's the way our body works. We absorb so much chaos, so much stress, keep absorbing, absorbing, and absorbing. Finally, has to have a release point. So you may scream or yell, you may get upset, you may have a panic attack, feel like a heart attack, or something else along those lines. And many of the souls that I explain to this, they kind of argue with me, and I go, okay, I'm not going to argue with you, but you had a panic attack or you were stressed. So just realize if it doesn't happen, let's say you look at your life now, I had a great week. It's a buildup of energy like a volcano, and it has to release itself. And that's what you have to understand. And the release is very, very wonderful. Because if you keep it in you long enough, it's going to cause many other maladies within your body. So, what are you doing but you're not sleeping? Now, I'm a night person. I love the night. So, I may go to sleep at 1:30 in the morning, sometimes 2 o'clock. And so let's say I went to sleep at 1 o'clock. And then I wake up, boy, I feel great. How many hours I'm sleeping? Wow, I feel wonderful. The time is 1:20. What? 20 minutes? Now you may have experienced that. Then I'm up at 2:30, 4:30, 3:30, whatever. And it can be very discouraging. Something important you need to realize is that you are out of your body. And when you're out of your body, it means you're doing work. What kind of work? Well, I'm glad you asked me that question. You're preparing yourself for a major shift in your life, healing that's going on. Perhaps you're helping new souls birth in their body. Perhaps you're balancing Mother Earth. Perhaps you're working with what I call the nature spirits. And that could be the animal, mineral, vegetable kingdom. Understanding this is, you're doing very complex work. Well, then the next question, well, how do I know that? Okay, Doubting Thomas, or how do you know that? Well, I've been doing this so long, but I understand. So all you need to do is when you go to sleep, just said, let my body sleep, let my mind know what I'm doing. All right, try that. If it doesn't happen the first day, don't worry about it. Most people I talk to or do a healing, well, 2.3 milliseconds went by and I'm not healed. I don't know any difference. Well, of course, you've got to give yourself a little time to accept it. You got to give yourself time to heal. And that's so important. And when we talk about healing, that's what you're doing at night. Tia, you want to address something?
I do. Uh, I have that broken sleep thing, just like what you're talking about. And my question is that I have been having the weirdest dreams. They don't make sense. So, is that happening because I'm out of my body?
Yes. And that's a good question you brought up. Sometimes your dreams are metaphors, although you may not make sense. In other words, let's supposing you see yourself swimming in a stream and you're swimming upstream and you're being pushed back and you're going forward and you're being pushed back. It's a sign. Of course, water means spirituality, but even if you didn't know that, it's a sign that you're struggling in your life and that there are things you need to let go. And of course, when I tell people, what do I have to go to? What's wrong with my life? And they jump all over me. And that's the way they talk to me. I'm going, well, there's some things you're having trouble letting go. And then, of course, I get the answer, well, I can't, I can't, I can't. And I go, you won't, you won't, you won't. So there's a trite old saying, argue for your limitations and you own them. And that's so important when you argue, all right? Just say, what am I to learn? And when the time is right, I'll get it, whether it's now, a week, or a month. And what happens is you'll have what we call an aha. Somebody will say something. You may watch a TV program, may hear a song, you may watch somebody. You'll have that aha, and you go, oh, that's me. That applies to me. Now, if we look at Mother Earth, she's a beautiful living entity. But look at this as a school. So you're in school and you're learning. Now you can learn the easy way and accept it and move ahead, or you can learn the hard way. And the hard way is you create limitations, you can create anxiety and all the problems in your life. And then the next thing we do, we ask somebody else's opinion. Well, what happens is, unless somebody is spiritually and understands it, when you ask somebody opinion, you'll get 100 opinions. And that really confuse you. I remember one time I had a student and she wanted to go, this is many years ago, Talking Books it was called, which is, they had the little CDs or tapes, and it was a book on tape. And she wanted to open up a store, and it's going to cost, let's say, 15 or 20,000. But her husband said, "No, I want a new boat." Well, we got a boat. No, I want a new boat, and that's going to cost us 15, 20,000. They got in an argument. She came and asked me what would happen if she would it be successful. And I told her, absolutely, be very successful. And she came back to, well, every week we had class, and 3 weeks later she said, well, I went to 15 psychics and they all said the same thing, be successful. But the 16th got it right. I said, what did they say? It wouldn't work, it would fail. She got it right. And I just looked at her and didn't say another word. Well, I did. I said, if 15 out of 16 said that would work, that's pretty gosh darn good odds. That's some winning odds, 15 out of 16. But he got his boat. And that's what was important. And eventually she dropped out because she realized that, she had made a mistake but wouldn't admit it, which is fine. I never chastised her. I just said 15 out of 16 is good. So here we are. And when you're going through something in your life that is really eye opening or heart awakening, find that right soul. Ask that you talk to the right soul. what I usually do is ask for true inner source guidance to help explain or show me what I'm supposed to learn. But many of you don't have patience. And I always say, let me learn this when the time is right. So it could be immediately, could be a week or 2 weeks later. And I may have forgotten about it, but I always get an answer. This begs the question, well, why don't I get an answer right away? Well, you do, except sometimes your mind is so cluttered and you're so upset or angry or frustrated. Knock, knock, somebody home. Knock, knock, somebody home. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I'm worried about this. Is a good omen. It's a bad omen. Knock, knock. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? And you're thinking all these thoughts. So what happens is when the time is right. So when you surrender, that's when it comes. But now we're into so much chaos and all things are happening. And I was talking to Tia where I read that, in France at this time, they're all protesting, changing the age, retirement from 62 to 64, and something about foodstuffs. And then I saw something interesting. So in the Netherlands, they passed a law that they wanted to reduce farmers raising cattle by 1/3, I think food by 1/3, and so on. So there was a big protest. And of course, the government didn't want to listen to the farmers. So they did an ingenious thing. They put up the Farmers' Party and elected their own people to their House and Senate or whatever their legislator is, and they revoked the law. Well, what does that really tell us? It tells us that we can create anything we so desire, whether it be individually or as a group, but we can create the truth, which is so important. It's when we become a malaise, we become lazy, everything's going to work out, I don't want to be involved. And that's what happens. We lose control over our life. You have to be involved in your life. You have to be involved what brings you love and joy and happiness. You have to be involved in creating a life that your soul says, Michael, or whatever your name is, to you, who's ever listening, listen to me. This is what you need to create for a loving joy in life. Life is not about all the toys. Life is about living and experiencing and seeing the wonders of life. You're a miracle. Each one of us are a miracle. When you think of the egg and then you think of the zygote, the sperm, and only one or two sperm can get into the egg, what are the odds of that? It's almost microscopic. And one of my friends, his daughter-in-law, just had a baby. 9 pounds, 8 ounces. Big baby. Beautiful baby. Beautiful. But just think, microscopic. And what grows with inside a woman, how beautiful it is. And how beautiful life is. And we've all forgotten it. We're all stuck in the minutiae of scarcity, anger, frustration, loss, looking for what direction. That direction is within you. And that's so important. Because remember, you're the producer and director and main actress or actor of your life. That's what you are. And it's so important. And if we understand that, I talked about the Old Testament. The Old Testament says we're made in the image of God. Well, we know God doesn't look like us. And then Jesus Christ said the kingdom of heaven is within. A lot of things for you to think about. A lot of things. And when you think about all those things, realize that you are given the opportunity to have a life of joy and happiness, anger, frustration, or hate, or whatever you want. It's easy. And when I asked again the true source, why do we humans think about spirituality being so difficult? And I know I've mentioned this before. And the answer I got, you humans have to make a big deal out of everything. It is, do you make a big deal about drinking water, inhaling, make a big deal about taking a walk or having dinner or whatever? No, it's just part of life. So part of life is you are the designer of your life. So think about really what makes you happy. What makes your soul happy? And that's even more important. Most people, when they're happy, well, I have a better job, have the love of my life, I make a lot of money, I have a big, huge 10,000 square foot house. No. That isn't what makes your soul happy. That's what makes your ego happy. Now, there's nothing wrong with having a 10,000 square foot house, Bentley or Rolls Royce. Nothing wrong at all, except that is that your soul urge. And here's the real truth. You've created that 10,000 square foot house, that job, that Bentley or Rolls Royce. Can you get up and walk away from it and say, I don't need it anymore and just give it away? Besides to your relatives or family, can you just walk away and give it away? And if you can't, then your ego owns you. You can walk away and say, I had the experience. That's what my soul wanted. Had the experience. Now go create something else. That was fun. Maybe you'll just get up in the morning and have an average house and live by a pond and watch the birds and maybe play a little pickleball. That's the new thing, or tennis or volleyball or golf, or just enjoy life. The simple things, watching the sunrise and sunset. What is happening is you've lost your direction, and you've become tied into your ego. And ego will always create fear. Unless you do it my way, not going to work out. You're going to fail. You're going to lose everything. On and on and on and on and on. Why am I spending so much time in talking to you about this subject? And the reason is because a major change of energy is coming about. More energy about spirituality, enlightenment, having fun, and enjoying your life. You know, when it's all said and over and done, a friend of mine did some research on beautiful souls, male and female, who were in nursing homes, and they were at the end of life, and they said, if you could change anything, what would you do? And they said, I would listen to my soul and have more fun and get out of all the materialistic things. I missed out on enjoying the simple things of life. Like when I looked at this friend of mine, his granddaughter, just the most beautiful baby I've ever seen. Wow, what a miracle she is. What a miracle your children are. What a miracle you are. And now that I brought all this up, I have a suggestion. And that is when you go to sleep each night, ask your soul to show your path of joy and happiness in life, not anyone else's, just your path. And you'll be amazed at what happens in the days to come. So I want to thank you all, but I want to talk to you about some important things that I feel that will help us all in our mission. And I'm holding up. I beat you. We have a little contest, whoever does this first. This is a book written by Geo Knapp, Healing the Holes in Your Soul. And it's a beautiful book about survival, about like the phoenix rising from the ashes and being guided to help abused women and children and men and enlightening people about that, like myself. This is a beautiful book to read. And I wanted all of you to know that I'm talking about this book not because I want to sell the book to you, but because it's a way of changing your life. Because Tio and I are in service to you, to enlighten you and empower you. And that's why I bring up this book, so that it can help change your life. It can be an inspiration to you and anyone else in your family. That's why I present this book.
My turn, Michael.
Your turn.
My turn. This amazing book and the gentleman right beside me are the reason why the book that he's holding even was written, because that wasn't my intent when I started writing a book. And when I shared stories with him, what he said was, you need to write your own story and let the world know what you've been through and give them hope. So I am honored and thrilled to pieces to be part of Michael's nonprofit. And I highly recommend for all of you to definitely get your hands on a copy of the Spiritual Primer and connect with Michael for a complimentary consultation, okay? Because I did, and this gentleman truly has guided me to helping me turn my life around. And that's what this whole thing was about, because I was feeling lost when I met him. And the things that have happened now in the last 3 years that I've been working with you are so incredible. There's no words to describe it, okay? These are like these are golden nuggets in here to help you get started. And truly, truly, we're not here to sell the books, okay? We're here to share what we've learned and how we can enrich everybody else's life so they can all create the love that they truly deserve to have. It comes from inside, right, Michael?
Absolutely. And I'd like to share some other things with you, as we have in the past. And every Tuesday evening, Pacific Daylight Time, 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. It's called Soul Awakening, where you can ask any questions you so desire on spirituality, and hopefully I'll be able to answer them. And then I'll deliver a little message to you. And I invite all of you. The cost is zero. Your participation, what's important, and share this with everyone. And it's done on at this time on freeconferencecall.com, so you don't have to put on a dress or makeup or a suit or whatever. You can be in your pajamas or whatever you want to wear. And then in order to access that, the telephone number is
That number is 202 926 1059. And the access code, Michael?
125-446-pound.
Yeah. And if you're driving, you can plug your earbuds in and you can still hear Michael's call and ask questions, okay? I'll give that number one more time. It's 202 926 1059. And the access code, Michael?
125-446-pound. And using that same code, the same telephone number, I call it the replay. And that is their, 176 or 200 messages. I forgot which. And starts at number 3, go up to 201 anyway. And whatever number you choose, it'll be the right message. Because people will call me and said, I chose number 112. I didn't know what it was, just what I needed to hear. In order to access that, it's the same telephone number. No, it is not, is it? It's a different telephone number. I apologize. To access that number, the telephone number is?
For the recordings, it's 434 300 4170. And the code?
Same access code is 125-446-pound. And one more time.
Absolutely. 434 300 4170. And the access code, Michael?
125-446-pound. And now the recorded messages you have heard. Then the second Saturday of every month, we have what we call a mass consciousness healing. And it goes from 9:55 Pacific Daylight Time to 11:01 Pacific Daylight Time. I encourage all of you to join us. I talk for 2 or 3 minutes. That's about it. Then we go into silence. And then around 10:58, I talk for a couple of minutes and then it ends. You will have one of the most beautiful, wonderful experiences of love that you'll ever feel in your life. So that's the same telephone number that you use to call in on Soul Awakening on Tuesday night. We'll just give you that telephone number again.
Absolutely, Michael. It's also in the comments below. I've added all your contact info in there as well. But that number for the mass consciousness healing is also 202 926 1059. And the access code?
125-446-pound. So it's the same number as the Tuesday night Soul Awakening. And I'd like to share with you that what I call the replay. You can watch this at Dr. Michael B. Gross on YouTube. And please push the subscribe button. We appreciate it. Also, those messages, they're audible messages that are given with beautiful pictures from Tio Knapp, who's an award-winning photographer. And there are little sayings on each one that I post. And you can join me and request me to be on Facebook. I would appreciate it. The reason we ask you to subscribe or mention this, because the more people I get to subscribe, the more higher, let's say, place that I get that people can listen to the message. I want all of you to understand this is a message of empowerment for your soul to awaken. That's part of my mission and goal. I want to thank all of you for joining us. I want to thank you for giving up your time. I know Tia has something to say. And I want to thank all of you to recommend listening to us on Thursday night, the call in on Soul Awakening, Mass Consciousness Healing, and the replays. Tia, do you have something you want to add?
I do. Just really quick. When you go to Michael's YouTube channel, he has these amazing inspirational quotes that we put on the thumbnail for the recorded message. So you get his quote, you get my picture, and you get his 10-minute message all in one click. And that's a phenomenal job that's being put into his YouTube channel. And I really, really, really encourage everyone to let's support Michael and get his YouTube channel out there, because our world is in such chaos. And when we all come together and we start sharing unconditional love, that's exactly how we start calming the chaos and bring our planet back to peaceful, balance and harmony. Okay. So let's all make our souls sing, right?
Absolutely. So thank you, everyone. Have a great evening. We'll see you next week. And remember, you are unlimited. Namaste. We love
Namaste.
you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Night.